Hello, everyone. This is Cody Lee of BlackCatBooks.org, author of I, the Dragon, Cruel and Beautiful Rabbit Hole King Dio, and the upcoming Lauren Frey, releasing tomorrow. Please check out BlackCatBooks.org for more information on that. And okay, the Nintendo Direct was great. Okay, all around, lots of great announcements. Chrono Cross, Live a Live, Switch Sports, Mario Strikers, great stuff. I was very, very pleased with most of the stuff we saw, like lots of the smaller projects. However, I had two very, very big problems with the Direct. Or not necessarily problems, but like an observation I made. I am not interested in either the opening game and the closing game. I thought both entries were rather weak for different reasons. And those games were, of course, Fire Emblem Warriors, Three Hopes, and Xenoblade Chronicles 3. And first of all, I have no faith in the Warriors franchise in 2022. I think Age of Calamity, Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity, is one of the worst follow-ups to a Zelda game I have ever experienced. I thought it was unbelievably awful how they handled that one when it came to the character roster, when it came to the map design, when it came to the combat, when it came to the mechanics, when it came to like the frame rate, the story. Like there were so many aspects to it that were like offensive to me personally. I have gone on record several times saying that Age of Calamity is my least favorite Zelda game ever, and it's such a shame because I had such high hopes for the game, right? It was supposed to be a proper adaptation of a proper prequel to Breath of the Wild with the Age of Calamity, like the battles against all the minions, the champions like rising up to fight Ganon, only to in the end fail. And what did we get instead? We got some weird alternate universe bullshit where like people come from the future and they change the past, and like the Age of Calamity never happens. It is the worst thing ever. You know what I mean? And I am so opposed to this kind of thing because Breath of the Wild really sold us on the idea of like being a truly post-apocalyptic Zelda, or like sort of post-apocalyptic Zelda, with like things have recovered since the Calamity, and like things can get worse again, but like it's an interesting setup with like a world that's very open and has a lot of very undeveloped, and has a lot of natural disasters, a really rich history, right? We had an opportunity to really go back and really experience the world of Hyrule at its height, right? The world of Breath of the Wild at its peak. I was expecting all sorts of things, all sorts of interesting usages of characters and ideas, but no, we got like something that was offensively bad. You know what I mean? Like I did not care for this title at all. I did not care for that title at all. It presented itself as a legit sequel to Breath of the Wild, and I found it like unbearable with that. I thought it was a really cheap, lazy cash in, and something that like I honestly was disgusted with. I definitely the worst Nintendo game I've played on Switch. I think like every time I play it, I can't believe how awful it was. It was awful. It was just, there was no defending it. And Three Hopes, I fear, seems to be going down the same route. Like, I'm seeing all these red flags that it's going down like it's doing the same things, like being an alternate universe take on Three Houses. Like, I think the implication is that like characters are gonna start working together, and to like it's gonna be like the mythical golden root that kind of ruins the entire themes of the game. I feel like the appeal of Three Houses for me is just how like nuanced the story is, in the sense where like things go wrong no matter what you do and who you side with and things like that. You can't possibly predict like how the future will turn out, but you kind of have to make the best of it and stuff like that. I really value how characters like suffer and have to like overcome like their difficulties and stuff. Like it is it is phenomenal. Like I really really enjoy the dark aspect of Three Houses, and I think this idea that turning it to a Warriors game and having all the characters like on the same side fighting the bad guys kind of undermines what made Three Houses so compelling to begin with like all the political drama and like the deep rich history. I it's going to shit all over that. And like of course like the gameplay isn't very good either with like the same problem that Age of Calamity had with like the maps that were way too fucking big with that just aren't appealing, just aren't fun to run around in. Like I don't see them like really coming back and making Fire Emblem Warriors Three Hopes better than Age of Calamity. Like I believe Age of Calamity is one of the best selling Warriors games ever, actually. And I've not heard anyone really talk about how awful it was. Like other than myself, I don't see anyone really addressing the fact that like yeah this game fucking sucked. Like not even like from the perspective of being like a Zelda game. Like it's not a good Warriors game. It's not a good prequel to Breath of the Wild. Like it fails in like basically everything it sets out to do. There is not a single positive thing I would say about Age of Calamity, other than maybe the utilization of some of the powers in Breath of the Wild in the Warriors format. I kind of enjoy that. But like other than that, I found Age of Calamity incredibly dull, like unbelievably dull. Samurai Warriors 5, which I played recently, also unbelievably dull. In fact, I went ahead and bought a history book on the rise and fall of Nobunaga, the unification of Japan, and it is such a shame that such an interesting piece of history has been like adapted into such a shitty video game franchise. Like Warriors is pure trash. You know, like I don't care if it's surprisingly historically accurate. I don't care about like I don't care about their technical limitation. Like their games are just pure trash. They are monotonous. They're boring. I don't fucking like them. I want them to stop being made. Honestly, like I want a more intense, platinum game style action game series, right? Like something like No More Heroes 2, where you had like, 3 characters that you like from the first game, just like, going with their own individual level segments, right? With their own mechanics and stuff like that. Like, that's what I would want from a game like Hyrule Warriors. I would want more technical depth. I would want more stuff going on. I don't want this monotonous, repetitive bullshit. Even back when Hyrule Warriors came out, like every aspect that I admired about it when it came to like, oh yeah, they were utilizing elements from like Twilight Princess, Ocarina, and Skyward Sword. Like they could have done it better. Like they really could have. They could have really done a lot with this idea and like this the idea of making a serious strategy game encompassing like real Zelda characters, but it just didn't happen. It was pathetic. I hated it. It was unbelievable. And I don't really see a lot of I don't really have, Alexa, stop. I don't really have a lot of optimism for the future of the Warriors franchise. I don't. I don't see them ever changing. I don't see them ever evolving. I don't ever see them like stepping like doing anything differently, because like no one else really does what they do, and people can just latch on to a popular license, stuff like Zelda, stuff like One Piece, stuff like real historical figures, right, and just kind of leech off of it like a fucking parasite. They just they have no standards. They have no ability to make anything unique or interesting. They just they're going to shit on the Fire Emblem license just like they shit on Breath of the Wild, and I legit am strongly considering not actually buying Three Hopes. I had such a miserable time with Age of Calamity that I have no real interest in ever following up with another Warriors game. I've had nothing but bad experiences with them. I get bored of them easily. I don't know why I even bother buying them. Like if it wasn't for the license, I would never even consider it. And with Three Hopes, I think I will just end up just watching a Let's Play or something. I think I'll get the same experience. I won't lose anything by missing out on Three Hopes, I think. And I think I will just save my money. I will just buy something I actually want. Something like Chrono Cross, something like Live a Live, something like Switch Sports. I am not... That game does not look good to me at all. So, that's my feelings on Fire Emblem Warriors Three Hopes. I didn't care for didn't care for it. The other thing, Xenoblade Chronicles 3. I am sick and tired of Xenoblade. I don't like the fact it exists. I don't like the gameplay. I don't like anything about it. And after Xenoblade 2, I kind of decided that I would never try another Xenoblade again because all the changes in this franchise are essentially surface level stuff. Right? They'll change character designs, they'll change like settings, they'll change stuff like that, but they won't like fix the actual problems with Xenoblade. That is like the gameplay, like the action RPG style just does not work. Never has, never will. It's not fun. It's not interesting, and I think the audience just doesn't like to admit it. I don't know who, I don't know who the people who actually, I don't understand why people. I think the people who like Xenoblade are the sort of autistic spurgs who spend hundreds of hours watching every shitty anime that comes out because I can't imagine why you would ever think that something like Xenoblade Chronicles 1 had a good story. You know what I mean? Like I can't imagine thinking Shulk is a good protagonist or that like the twists are out of this world or that the second half of like with the Mechanis was any good. Like I can't imagine having such shit taste. Like, even on the Wii, like, the Wii wasn't known for having great RPGs, but, like, if you had a Wii, you had access to stuff like Pandora's Tower, you had, like, The Last Story, you had, like, so many better options than fucking Xenoblade Chronicles. And, like, Xenoblade Chronicles X wasn't... I mean, it's still the best game in the series, but because of, like, you know, not having that much of a focus on the story, but, like, when it comes to, like, just the gameplay, it's not fun to play. Like once you get the Skell, it's just kind of like, okay, let's just get everyone gets a Skell and just grind to get the best Skells, and then like I don't know, just go around doing stuff. Like it's just like I can kind of see the appeal of X. Like I kind of like the whole like city building aspect and like the development and like that stuff was really really cool. I loved that aspect of X, but they didn't follow up with it with 2, right? Like 2 has that concept of like, oh yeah, you have these blades, these anime waifus who follow you around and do stuff like, and they give you anime powers. Like again, it has positive qualities with the actions, cutscenes and stuff like that. Like the character designs are great. I do kind of admire the setting. It's very creative, but like again, the game itself is not good. The story is not compelling. I don't like the fan servicey aspects. I don't like there's a lot about Xenoblade Chronicles 2 I did not like, and you know, as much as I like Pyra as a character, like as much as I like certain aspects of it, like it needs to be said. Like I don't think I'm ever going to enjoy a Xenoblade game, and as a result of that, I don't really have an interest in ever really considering Xenoblade Chronicles 3. I just why would I? I just don't think it's like nothing from this trailer really piqued my interest at all. Like even the setting kind of looks like something we've seen before. Like the only notable thing about it is that like the designs of the female characters are significantly less sexually explicit, and that's mostly because like Xenoblade Chronicles 2 has some of the most sexually explicit character designs I've ever seen in my life. Like it's like how can you possibly like it's a lot more grounded in that way, which I do kind of appreciate because 2 was kind of ridiculous with how like anime it was, and didn't care for that at all. But other than Pyra, I do like Pyra's design, but the game itself, like, there's nothing about it that interests me. Like, and I don't think, I don't think I'll pick this one up. I really don't. It's very disappointing to see so many like high profile Nintendo games, stuff on like based on Three Houses, which I love, and Monolith Soft, who I believe can do a lot better than this. Like I've always said that like just make a turn based RPG. that's a lot more linear, and they'll probably be fine. But they have to make these big, sweeping, open worlds that just kind of ruin the entire thing. Like I want them to like strip it back considerably. You know what I mean? And I just, I don't. I'm not thrilled about either of those games, and I probably will skip both. To be completely honest with you, I don't see myself playing Xenoblade Chronicles 3. I'm I have no interest in playing future games in this series.